God bless you. I'm Apostle Mark A.Henton, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to be able to share the goodness of the Lord with those of you who are live streaming and that have tuned us in. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I shall rejoice, we shall rejoice, and be glad in it. You know, as time is moving us forward and we're all still dealing with this virus and being careful and socially spacing ourselves and just making sure that we're trying to be careful, which is a good thing, and I'm certainly an advocate of that. You know, I'm thinking about how these practices that we are now beginning to do daily, how they are becoming habit forming, such as sanitizing your hands. It's just habit forming. Now I've got to the place where, you know, I'm careful to touch doorknobs. I'm putting on gloves. I'm wiping off stuff when I get home. I'm wiping stuff off. You take your clothes off, and we're beginning to develop these habits and these practices. And you know, the reality is that the circumstances has created this environment for us. Because before this virus came along, we were shaking hands and hugging and holding, and we weren't so cautious or so aware of being careful about germs, touching, high five, and that kind of thing. So we see it making some changes in the patterns of our lives. And I'm wondering how much change is Jesus really having? What kind of pattern is being set in your life? What type of habit, a spiritual habit, are you developing? Just like we're learning to do things differently, are you learning to really draw closer to the Lord? The Bible declares, and God says, if you draw near to me, I'll draw nigh unto you. That if you seek him, you will find him. Jesus says, ask and it shall be given, seeking you will find, and knock and the door shall be open. And so while we're busy developing these habits, I'm wondering how many people are sincerely developing the habit that pleases God. The habit that turns our lives and changes our lives from those negative things sometimes that we picked up, even as a child of God, even as a Christian, even as a saint. I'm not saying that you were bogged down in sin, but sometimes we picked up small things that we carried that didn't necessarily promote Jesus in our lives. You see, the Bible declares in Hebrews, he says, lay aside every weight and the sin that doth so easily beset us. This is a season that has caused us to be really aware of who we are and pay attention to ourselves and really evaluate our own lives. And in the process of evaluating now, you know what we have to do? We got to do just like we're doing physically. We're sanitizing, we're cleaning, we're being careful. Lord, I want to be careful in this season. I want to be watchful over what I say. I want to be watchful over what I do. I want to be watchful of my actions. And I'm not just trying to do something for the now, but God, let it be habit forming in my life so that you can walk closer to him. You know, I know that God answers prayers. I had someone say to me once, I want you to pray for me because God always answers prayers. Well, what do you mean? He'll answer your prayer like he answers mine. What is it that you feel that you have in your life that's hindering you from being heard by God? If you've got something in your life like that, don't get nobody else to pray for you. Change it. And let God do something in your life that causes you to become permanently planted in him. The Bible declares that his word, the word of Jesus, is a lamp unto our feet. John 1 says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and the word was with God. You see, he is his word, and his word is a lamp to our feet. He'll lead you and guide you in all truths. And in this season, where we're being so careful about so many things, how careful are we being about and concerning our walk with the Lord? When this is over with, you shouldn't be further from him. You ought to be closer to him. When this is all said and done, you ought to be in another position, another plateau, another place. You ought to be on another dynamic when it comes to your spiritual relationship with God. Listen to me. We had a lot of fellowship. The coronavirus is pushing us into relationship, to know him better and to know him more. Paul writes like this. He says, you know, I die daily. He wasn't talking about a physical death, but he talked about dying to his own will, dying to his own way. Can I tell you what happened to us? We just started dying to our own way. formulating new habits, formulating new things that we never did before. You know, we're calling it the new norms. All of these new norms that come at us all at one time. Well, what is the new norm for God in your life? What's your new norm? Is it spending more time in prayer? Is it sharing more of his love with people? Maybe that they didn't call you, but you decided to call them. What is the new norm in your life as it pertains to your walk with God? And so in this season, in this time, let's just stop and examine where we are, and let's formulate, let's develop, let's create these new norms to which God is totally pleased with. David wrote and said, "Cleanse me, Lord, from my presumptuous sins, my secret sins and my presumptuous faults. Cleanse me from my secret sins and my presumptuous faults." God, now the spotlight is on all of us. And guess what? It's a spotlight on you, and it's not a spotlight in a room with a bunch of people. It's a spotlight on you, and you're all by yourself. And while that spotlight is on you, you ought to let the power of God do something to take you to another level. I'll say this and I'm going to finish. Some of you, your fight is not fornicating, stealing, lying. That's not what your trouble is. Your trouble is the root of bitterness in your heart. Your problem is the anger. Your problem is your disposition, your attitude. Your problem is that thing where you just feel that you're entitled. That thing is when you get angry and mad at people, cut people off, and say whatever you want to say. Your problem is your mouth. And this is a season now to stop and really put it all in check. Because truly God comes to help us to become better. I don't know about you, but I'm saying, God, I want to be a better person, a better pastor, a better father, a better husband, a better me. And I know in order to do that, I got to do just what I'm doing with my hands and all these other things. God, I want to be sanitized so I can change certain things that allows me to become who it is you called me to be. Listen, said enough. I love you with the love of Christ. If you let God do it, he don't have no problem doing it in your life. All you got to do is just submit to his will and let him work on you. And he'll make the kind of changes that you need made in your life that makes you a better you. On behalf of myself and Lady Grace and the whole Monument family, love you with the love of Christ and talk to you real soon.